Hello traders, Sid here with another video, and in this video I'm going to cover few stocks that has like a good setup to take a trade on during this week. So we just have like a 1 week left in February and one Monday, but that's it. February is about to end, and on Monday stock market will be closed because of the President's Day, and so it gives us some time to perform some analysis and take a look at like what stocks are doing, where they are going, what's happening all over the market, and so on. Things in this recap video is like I added all these lines, like moving averages lines. So the blue one is 20 EMA, white one is 50, yellow one is 100, red is 200, and the blue one is 300-day moving average. So just keep that in mind if you want to use this watch list as your watch list and want to follow this chart exactly as I have right over here. Other thing that I added to this chart is this screenshots of options activity that I took from Quant Data. Now the Quant Data is a tool that provides you all the options activity happening throughout the market, irrespective of any stocks. Like it gives you individual stock. If there is any option activity happening on that stock, then there is a high probability that you will see that with Quant Data. And I took a screenshot first of the trend. The second one is a volume, and this screenshot will provide you enough information like where exactly volume is maximum, like which strike point, where they enter into the trade, what strike they enter into the trade, what strike they are looking forward to, and similar thing is with open interest. So you can take a guess like where exactly stock wants to move or that particular ticker wants to move. Okay, so first let's take a look at what is happening with market. So on Friday we had like quite a sell-off, and the price action throughout this week was not typically good. It was kind of like a bearish and a brief moment of some kind of like a bullishness, but that was kind of like a fake out, and it's not good. It when a market has no trend and it's trading in sideways, then trading with options or stocks is not going to be that beneficial, because you can easily fake out in either direction. If you open a put position, then market can change direction and it goes bullish for a while, and that will throw you out of that trade with losses. When you see this type of price action, then you can understand that there is a compression going on or accumulation going on. So this is like a kind of like accumulation phase where market stores energy for explosive move. Now that move can be either on the bullish side or on the bearish side. We don't know, anything can happen. So but my guess is like throughout this month of February we will see similar kind of like a choppy action. So without any further ado, let's jump into the analysis. So as you guys can see here, so SPY is kind of in a downtrend, and if you look at the market activity, the market is kind of like a bearish, and the strike price that overall market is looking at throughout this option activity is 425. Now if you look closely to this chart, and if you look at all these moving averages line, then you can easily see where exactly market wants to go. Market is exactly want to go around like around this 300-day moving average. Now will that move be exact like touchdown and go up from there? No, it's not going to be like that. It will go there, touch it, retest this 300-day moving average level, and jump back from there. or it can, you know, stay within this line for a few days before making any move, before picking up any direction. As you guys can see here, we test this level on 24th January before bouncing back up. So that could be possible. Everything is possible, but you guys can see here the downward pressure is quite significant in the market. And the other thing that you can see on this chart is, like, I have this indicator. So this indicator is called as a money flow indicator, and this one is RSI. Now RSI indicator is just showing the strength of overall market, whereas money flow indicator gives you some idea, like if people are buying or selling. And most of the time institutions buy when the money flow index goes below 30. So that's what you need to pay attention to, because that's accumulation phase for most of the institution traders, and that basically sets the tone of the market for few weeks, like 1 or 2 weeks. So that being said, just keep a look at SPY. If it retests this 300 level and 300 moving average level and hold it or break below it. If it breaks below it, then it's not good, but if it hold that level and bounce back from there, then we can see this W shape, like double bottom formation. But you guys can see you guys can take an idea, like we are moving like this, and this. So that's scenario that we are looking into. Okay, so W shape, double bottom recovery, that can be possible. So that's it about SPY. Now let's move on to Apple. Apple is it's a blue chip stock, doesn't move that much, and it is basically holding its value quite well. But as of SPY, I expect it to rebound from this 100-day moving average, and that will rightly bring us back to 162 level. If market really goes down, then probably we will break this level and then retest this 200-day moving average. But that kind of move is very highly unlikely. But hey, anything can happen in the stock market because stock market is irrational. Now let's take a look at the overall market activity. Market is kind of like a bullish on Apple, and 170 could be a fair move in upcoming week. The other thing that I want to mention is, like, all this expiration is all these option screenshots are going to expire. They show the next week's range. They are going to expire on Feb 25th. So I'm showing only those screenshots that are relevant for the upcoming week, nothing else than that. So that's it for the Apple, quick one. Now AMD, despite having a good earning on NVDA, it's kind of like sold off because of overall market condition. So you just have to take that as a context while dealing with semiconductor stock, because AMD is kind of like following NVIDIA, and if NVIDIA is moving, AMD is moving as well. Now the overall market trend is still bullish on AMD, and we can see $114 or $115 move in upcoming week. Now if you look at the current price, which is at 113, 114, 116 is not that a big move. Okay, so what I'm expecting to happen is, like, it will again retest, because all these blue chip stocks or the good stocks are like either at 200 days moving average or like 100-day moving average, and they are retesting this level. In case of AMD, it is close to its 200-day moving average, which is at 112, and the 300-day moving average is at $103 level. So I'm expecting that it will go to this level, 300-day moving average level, if market tanks further, and that will be a good buying opportunity. So that's about that. Now Amazon, oh my god, Amazon took my money, it took my lunch money. Okay. Joke aside, let's move on to take a look at like what Amazon wants to do. Now the one thing that you need to consider about Amazon is like, despite it can follow market direction, the one thing that you need to understand it as that it has this huge gap, and this huge gap, I am almost sure that either we will see that like downward move toward 2900 or downward moves toward 2850. Now I don't have the option activity chart over here because option activity screenshots over here because there was not enough volume, and all the market wants Amazon to move toward 3200. Well, market conditions are not supporting that trend, so you just have to keep that in mind. Why gap fill is very important for Amazon is again as similar to Apple, AMD and SPY, we can see that it is forming this double bottom or the bullish pattern. It is kind of like a forming over there, and if you see the money flow indicator, it was institutions were accumulating during this phase around like 24th January, where we hit the bottom of the market for a month of January and February before jumping back. So I'm keeping an eye on it. Probably I will open a vertical spreads, debit spread, so that I can protect my account from volatile move, or maybe I can use butterfly option strategy to gain some of it, some money from Amazon. But just keep that in mind. This is very important. If it start filling the gap fill, if it broke $3,000 level, then make sure that you take advantage of it and play accordingly. And now moving on to coin is very interesting because on Friday I have seen constant repetitive call purchase towards 150 strike, and I don't know whether it's going to be related to Bitcoin move or overall market move, but it seems like market is overall bearish on Square. And you guys can see here the 150 strike that they choose, which has highest volume. Based on that, what I expect it to do is like we have this small gap fill right towards 200 290. In most likely scenario is like it will bounce towards this 200 level and 200 210 level, and from there it will flush down. Now everything depends on overall market condition, Bitcoin price and other things, and so on and so forth. So just keep that in mind. If you are in Square put position, I can see that it can go to 150, but just play safe because they have earnings on 24th of February. So anything can happen. It can drop down to 150 level before earning and then jump back from there. So that's it about coin. Now moving on to Disney is kind of like I don't know, I'm not super bullish about this streaming stocks. I don't know, it feels weird to invest in the stock. If they are moving or picking up direction in a certain way, then it can be very easy to take a day trade or swing trade for a week. But I'm not like looking this type of stocks like Disney and Netflix as a long-term buy. But other than that, overall market is bullish. We are in the rising wedge formation. We can broke down. We are at level 151. We still have this gap to fill, a very tiny gap between 148 to 147. And overall market wants to go to 155 160. If market wants to go bullish, Disney will go bullish and hit this strike. Otherwise it can come down to another gap to fill another gap, which is from 130 to 128, which is quite possible to happen if we if market wants to sell off and go south. So that's it about Disney. DWAC is very interesting. I covered this stock in my last watch list video as well, covering it again over here. The DWAC is kind of like a stock which shows the bullishness, but if you go to trade it intraday or take a swing trade on it, it's very hard to guess like which direction it wants to move, because each day its price action is so volatile. Option premiums are quite high, so I don't know like how to interpret this price. But what I can see over here is like it has this like kind of like a cup shape formation, and if that's the case, then what I want to see that it can fill this $120 level if on a good day, or maybe we can fill this kind of like $100 level, and then we can break down from there, kind of like this action 100, and then move, then it will complete that cup formation and start forming this handle. So just keep that in mind, because overall market is kind of like a bullish on DWAC or DWAC, and strike price that has most volume and open interest is around $90 to $100. So that's it for the DWAC. Let's move on to Facebook. It's oversold on RSI on a daily time frame, and money flow index is kind of showing that it's in accumulation phase, but not exactly. And I would say that Facebook is likely going to retest this $200 level, and if it can hold that, then that's fine. Otherwise it can see 180 level pretty quickly. And again, after that, like I measure this point of control or POC using this fixed range volume profile tool. So I measure the overall move from the pandemic low to all-time high, and it's giving us that the overall volume is high at around like 263. Well, that will put us right about like 25 to 40% between this gap fill, but that move is quite I'm not quite sure about that move, because again everything is depends on the market. But overall market sentiment about Facebook is not that good, even though overall market is bullish, but there are certain news, rumors and everything is going on. So I would like to just see like where exactly it wants to go. And you guys can see here the 200 volume is very high, around 200, and open interest is very high, around 220. So if it can goes to 200, maybe I will keep an eye on it. If it goes below 200, around like 195 to 190 level, then I can open a call spread, like a call debit spread, to retest that $200 level. But let's see. I just want to wait and watch with Facebook. I don't want to take any trade unless it picks up a trend. Again, I'm not going to invest for a long term in this social media platform, because technology is evolving. Social media platform has to be more innovative. They have to put more innovation upfront to attract customers all the time. If that doesn't happen, then obviously investor will lose interest, and then same thing will happen as it happens to Facebook. So that risk is there. So I'm not going to invest in Facebook, but for intraday and day trade perspective, I'm interested in it if it goes to 200 level or below that and hold that level nicely. Okay, so now let's move on to gold. Gold is very bullish, I would say. Okay, considering the market condition, overall inflation, FUD and everything, gold is very bullish. So what I'm expecting to happen is, you see guys, here we have the market wants to push gold price to 190 level, which is highly possible. Now if that happens, then we can then it will fill this big cup formation, or the second thing is it can complete this cup formation pretty quickly, and that put us in the range of 178 or 180. If market condition remains like this for on gold, then we can see it to go to 190 level, and in that case let me mark it over here. Where is 190 level? Right over here to here, and then we will see this completion of the big cup. So those two scenarios are in play. Other thing that you need to notice is money flow index is around like at the top, or in terms of RSI it's kind of in that territory where it can go oversold. Just keep that in mind. Gold is very strong, so even if it tend to move towards bearish side, that bearishness won't last forever. It will be very short one, so just keep that in mind. Moving on to HD or Home Depot. Home Depot has their earnings on 22nd. Overall market trend is bullish. Strike price the market wants to go is 375, which has like a highest open interest and volume. It can happen, but similar to other stocks, like it is in this W shape, it's forming this double bottom pattern. Now let's see if it wants to bounce from 200-day moving average level, or it can break down and bounce from this 300-day moving average level. Earnings are going to be on 22nd. That means on Tuesday when the market opens, it will have their earnings. So let's see what happens over there. But that's it for Home Depot. Let's move on to Lewis. Lewis is other retail stock like Home Depot, and they have their earnings on 23rd. That means on Wednesday, and we are in kind of like a bullish formation, I would say. And again, I can start, as you can see, we can start this W shape formation or the double bottom formation, but we just have to keep that in mind that 200-day moving average is pretty close at 215 level. We are at 222, so if market drops down, it can go to 215 level, and from there it can bounce easily to somewhere around like 240 level. Next, we can take a look at MongoDB. Now MongoDB has their earnings on 9th March, so it has quite a time, like 2 weeks time, and the overall market is bullish, but there are a lot of puts open on this MDB play. I don't know why, but I'm seeing this kind of like W-shaped formation in all the good stocks. Like, I don't know if that's an indication where it wants to go, but if that's the case, then I'm highly interested in this play because earnings are coming up. If it dropped down to right now, it at 300 day moving average. If it has to drop, let's say market has chosen 360 strike. So if you take a look at it, where it bounced back previously, it's right around that level, 356, 360. It's kind of like over there. So probably it wants to come to that level before bouncing back up. And if that happen, man, I will be in. Okay, I will take a trade on this one. So just keep that in mind. Moderna has their earnings on 24th. That means on Thursday, and Moderna has sold off quite aggressively. So let's see what overall market wants to do with that. It's bullish, 185, 150. Right now we are at 145, which is quite weird. And let me use this fixed range tool to measure this move from low to high, and we are at that level. So we test that POC, and if we measure this move, then we are again at that level. So it's at a proper level to bounce, but it at this point it's kind of like a depend on the overall market what it wants to do. But I can see like it can make a move before earnings or after earnings, so just keep this in mind about Moderna. Moving on to Microsoft is holding pretty nicely, and let's see if we can see this W-shaped recovery over here as well. Yeah, it's there here, and we can come down to here and then jump back from here. Sorry for that. Let's close this. Let's delete this. The overall market is bullish, even though I can see like a lot of puts are open for coming week. 320 to 300, and we are at 287 level. I can easily see that we are very close to 300-day moving average. That means we can go back to 275 to 76, and from that level we can bounce back up. And I'm sure that that will happen because everything is lined up over there, considering all this other stock like Apple, AMD, Amazon, Coin, Disney. Everything is it's kind of like a repetitive pattern among this blue chip stock, so just keep that in mind. Once it dipped to 270, it can easily go to 300 level to 320, but 300 is quite possible if it dipped to 277 level. Only thing we need to look for is what market wants to do. MU is another semiconductor name, and I don't like to play MU for intraday or for a weekly play. Why? Because MU is very slow moving stock. I don't know what about it, but when it has to make a move, it make that move pretty slowly. It's not going to be like it's not going to move like Amazon, AMD or NVDA to make that quick move, but it's kind of like a very slow mover, and that's what I hate about it. That's what I learned from trading options with MU, that it's a slow mover. So if you want to take a trade on it, just give it about 1.5 months or 1 month at minimum to give it some time to develop its price action. Now the strike is 90 and 100. Now that overall market is still bullish on overall semiconductors, but if NVIDIA starts to move, I can easily see that it can retest this $100 level. The next one is NVIDIA, semiconductor giant, and it has this inverse head and shoulder formation. Not sure whether whether I would say it's an inverse head and shoulder formation, because if we cut this left shoulder, then we have that similar double bottom play over here like this, and you can easily see that it can make a good move from there. I would say that it can retest this 200-day moving average level around 227. I don't think so it can fall below that. If it does, then we will retest this previous low around 208, 205. If we broke that level, then 200 will be either the target price for NVIDIA to retest and bounce back from there. But overall market wants it to move towards 260, 280 level, which is pretty bullish. And yeah, I mean, it's very easy to play, I would say, if you keep this level in mind. Now let's move on to PNC. It's kind of like a very interesting play because it's respecting this 200-day moving average quite nicely. It retests this level again, second time, probably it will do the third time, and it's very evident that it may retest this level around 200, 197, 198 level before bouncing back again. It may come down a little bit to retest this previous resistance, and which act as a support at 193, 190 level. So that can entirely possible. We have market wants it to move towards 192, which makes sense considering its price action and overall market. So yeah, if that happens, then just keep that in mind. And if overall market change its direction from bearish to bullish, then it will move as well. Also, interest rate hike is beneficial for the bank and overall finance sector, so just keep that in mind. Track XLF and just see like where it wants to move. If it is bullish, then overall banking sector and finance sector will be bullish. So Qualcomm is another semiconductor name, but what I'm interested in Qualcomm is like we have this kind of like a zone where I would say it's kind of like a distribution zone where sellers are in a huge quantity, and that is kind of like pushing this price down because we retest this 191 level or 192 level multiple times, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in a row, but we couldn't break that level. So I would say like sellers are very in a huge quantity over there, and it can push that stock down to this 100-day moving average. And I can see like if it couldn't hold this to this 100-day moving average, then it may fall down to this 200-day moving average or below that. But I'm like I want Qualcomm to fill this gap before making any other move. If NVDA is down, make sure you check Qualcomm because that will be like a good play. Next one is Tesla. Tesla is very interesting, similar to other blue chip stock. It is in this bullish W shape formation or double bottom formation. Either it can bounce from the 200-day moving average or 300-day moving average. 200-day moving average is very likely because it's close to 826, 825 level, and a 300-day moving average is close to 790, 780 level. I don't think so it will fall that low, but if market goes really bad, market conditions becomes worse, then probably it will happen. But those levels are very key level where Tesla can bounce. Also on RSI we are in a cup formation, so that's kind of like a bullish. I'm expecting it to go to 1000 level at they say, but it will take some time. So that's it about Tesla. UPS is in downtrend and we have this gap, so I just added that over here. It might bounce from this 200-day moving average, which is at 204, 200 level, or it can bounce from this 300-day moving average, which it did in the past around October of last year. If that happens, then it can be a good bounce back play. But other than that, the other thing that I noticed over here, that it's in this diamond formation. So let me use these lines. So it's kind of like in diamond formation, and it clearly indicates that it's want to come down. Now I looked at it closely. It's kind of like a clear that it has this diamond formation and it wants to come down around, like, I don't know, but it's highly likely that it's going to fill this gap. So just keep that in mind. Upstart had a good earning, but still sold off based on the market condition. We have this gap right from 127 to 111. So if market wants to go down, then it can fill this gap before making any other move. If it broke that level as well, then we have this small gap fill which we couldn't fill last time. So that gap fill is from $74 to $64 level. So that is highly possible. Market is even the market is bearish, the 120 put, so that means 120 put. I guess market wants it to fill the gap. Upstart is going to fill this gap for sure, because we have this nice cup formation. It can broke up and then come down. If it breaks up, then we will see where it wants to go. We are in a complete cup formation. It's kind of like coming down. It goes up. I mean either things are possible. Upstart is very interesting. I just have to keep that in mind. If you are interested in taking trade with Upstart, just keep this in mind, that there is a gap fill right below 124. Okay, so it can happen, and market wants high open volume is around 120 put. So that could be possible. And last one is XLF, or the finance sector. Finance sector is overall bullish. We just retest this 200-day moving average around 24th January, bounce back from there, and it's a double top formation. We might come down, retest this level, bounce back up from that level, or if it is a bearish, if it turns bearish, then we can test this 300-day moving average level, which is around like 36. So keep those level in mind. Also, we have this accumulation phase, or kind of like a support zone over here, so that's kind of like a good target for XLF to move in the near future. And that's all about it. I will post this watch list down in the description. If you want, you can just use that to do some analysis and take a decision which trade you want to open, which ticker you want to play, and so on and so forth. But that's it for this video, guys. Also keep that in mind, is like, this is not a financial advice. This is just my analysis. I just want to share it with you. You can take a trade based on it, but obviously do your own analysis even before that. So thank you for watching, and see you again next week. Bye.